Hey everyone, my name is Saul Lopez and I am an award-winning videographer based here in Los Angeles, California. If this is your first time here, I release new videos every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, gearing towards providing educational content for photographers and videographers. However, if you stumbled upon my channel in this video because of the title of the video, today I'm going to be speaking about something a little bit more personal, and that is my journey with alcohol and sobriety over the last year and a half, and just really since I started drinking alcohol when I was a freshman in college. Mom, I'm sorry, I know you're watching this, and for anyone watching this that's under the age of 21 years old, please drink responsibly. Please wait until you're 21 years old to drink. But with that being said, I really wanted to share just about being sober for a year, how that went for me, my experience with it. But being as this is a channel about videography, photography, content creation, it wouldn't be appropriate to just talk about something else without talking a little bit about cameras. So I recently just upgraded my camera to the Sony A7S Mark III, and it just came in. So I figured we could do a little unboxing as well. I also got a new lens, the Sony 16-35 f2.8 G Master, which I've used before, but I'm stoked to finally own. So we're gonna combine this little unboxing with a little bit of a story time. But before that, let's roll the intro. All right, friends, we're back. So we have the Sony A7S Mark III right here. We have the Sony 16-35 2.8 right here. We're actually gonna go ahead and get started with the camera body. If you're watching this just because you enjoy camera work, then great, thanks for watching. But if you're here to hear about my journey with alcohol and sobriety, I did want to start off with that. And really the first time that I started drinking was my freshman year of college. So I wasn't really a partier at all in high school. I definitely just was not going to parties. It was that person. You know, once I got to college, I went to the University of Oregon my freshman year, and I'm originally from Los Angeles, born and raised in Pasadena. And I kind of just wanted to get out. I kind of wanted to experience something different, wanted to get away from just home, my family, just grow up a little bit. And obviously when you go to a big state school as the University of Oregon, which has a thriving sports culture, 30,000 students, there's gonna be a lot of parties. And really, like, for me, I've always been just kind of a focused person. So even at the University of Oregon, I wasn't like a big partier by any means. Even though it was my first experience with drinking alcohol, it was like at a party and I had one beer and it didn't really do anything to me. I'm a bigger person. I'm 6'2", like 180 pounds. And I had a beer or two maybe, I don't really remember at this point, but I just remember like it not really affecting me that much, and I was like, okay, like this isn't that big of a deal. But at the same time, a lot of people on my freshman dorm, like as the year progressed, like really got heavy into partying and just drinking all the time. And it wasn't really for me. Like I wanted to achieve more, I wanted to do things. Like I was just kind of in that mode where I was like, you know, school. And like when I was in high school, I was just like a really just studious person, just like always in class and doing well and stuff. So I didn't really want to deviate too much from that. My freshman year, like I drank a couple times, nothing crazy. I never was really drunk. But after my freshman year of college, I decided to transfer to Pepperdine University, which is here in Malibu, California. And for anyone that hasn't heard of Pepperdine University, it is Church of Christ affiliated. Me personally, I'm not like a very religious person. I'm actually Catholic, but it's also a dry campus. So it's prohibited, alcohol is prohibited on campus. However, it's very well known that kids just drink and there's alcohol involved. Like no one really followed that rule, or nor was it really enforced at the time that I was there. My sophomore year at Pepperdine, I ended up joining a business fraternity on campus, and hazing completely not allowed or anything like that. During the pledge process, like I wasn't forced to drink or anything by any means. But after I was initiated, we had a big party. We went out to Santa Monica. And that was like the first time I was ever like drunk, like the first time I ever experienced being drunk. And I remember we went to this restaurant in Santa Monica and everyone was just partying. We had like a party bus that took everyone in the fraternity to this restaurant. And there was a lot of international kids in this fraternity, and they were just like spending money like crazy and just buying bottles for everyone. And just like, I remember this one kid like coming up to me with like a Magnum Grey Goose bottle and just like starting to pour it down my throat. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. That was the first time I like really was like drunk. But after that, like I didn't really continue drinking that much. Again, like I wasn't 21 yet. Just a lot of effort to get alcohol into campus, like, you know, it just like wasn't really a big deal for me or like a priority at the same time. That following summer, I studied abroad in London, and the drinking age in Europe or the UK is 18 years old. So it was very easy to get alcohol. The party scene was just kind of crazy. Like every other day, basically, like weekdays, we were just going out to drink. And that's really where I just kind of like refined my palate for alcohol. But I was kind of just drinking everything and anything at the time. So I was like 20. And when I got back to college at Pepperdine, I turned 21 my junior year, and then my senior year was 22. And you know, I continued to drink a little bit more, but at the same time, like I lived a very active lifestyle, just living in Malibu, going to school there. I was eating really healthy, so like my body itself like felt really good. I was in good shape, like it wasn't really affecting me too much. And we'll actually get into this unboxing now. Sorry about that. I graduated from college and I entered the field of just professionalism. I was actually a high school teacher for a couple years. Through that, like there's obviously happy hours, you go out with your coworkers, things of that nature. And just being in that fraternity in college, like kind of like instilled this like fratty attitude in me, where it was like, if I'm drinking, like I'm drinking to get drunk, like everyone has to take shots, like let's have a good time, like I'm here to just like, you know, party really. And that's how it kind of carried with me after I graduated college and followed me into the workforce, unfortunately. Obviously, I transitioned into a more creative field and I pursued videography starting in 2016, and I went full-time freelance at the end of 2017, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And just being in the creative field, especially for me, I shoot a lot of events. I cover just like Fashion Week, a lot of concerts, things of that nature. So when I started shooting that, a lot of these events that you go to are open bar, because you have, especially in Los Angeles, you have like a lot of influencers or celebrities attending, and alcohol is just part of the ritual. You know, people just start drinking a lot. And for me, like even though I really enjoy the craft, I love shooting events, I love connecting with people, I love telling stories. I'm just a very introverted individual, and going into parties when maybe sometimes I was just hired alone, or I don't know anyone there, I'm just like attending a party with a friend just to like network or whatever, like alcohol really allows me to just open up a little bit and takes my social shyness away, just because I can communicate with people, I can really hold a conversation. I'm a very personable individual, but it is really tiring for me, and it's something that I am intimidated by. So I definitely used alcohol as a crutch to just allow me to open up and be a little bit more of a social butterfly, quote unquote. When it was a little bit more of a loose type situation where it wasn't that serious of a shoot, I was just like shooting for a friend, whatever. Those were the scenarios. But as just time progressed, you know, life just kind of happens, and you kind of fall into dark times as well. It's not always, you know, bright and sunny. Even though I live in LA where the weather's always nice, you know, life does get in the way. And in 2018, my grandma actually passed away, and my grandma was actually the person that helped raise me while my mom was at work. You know, I grew up living with her and my mom. It was just the three of us, and my grandma played a really integral part in helping raise me. And she had been sick for a while. She hadn't been doing that great. So it wasn't like it was an unexpected thing, and I had dealt with death beforehand. So also, here's the camera. Sorry, this is like the most serious part of the video, but here's the camera body. She hadn't been doing that great, and in 2018 she passed away, and it was just kind of hard, even though, again, like I said, I had experienced death before. Like, this was the first person that was like really, really close to me that I was like seeing every day. I had like uncles that had passed away prior to that. Yeah, it just like was kind of a hectic time, and I was dating someone at the time as well, and it just like wasn't really working out because of like this new career path that I was like pursuing, and I was like away all the time. I was just traveling. There was just kind of like a lot of friction going on in my life, and I didn't really realize it, but at the time, like from 2018 to, I would say maybe like even the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, like I was definitely going through depression and just being sad, really, without really noticing it. And the reason I didn't notice it was because I was always on the go. Like for me, I would shoot in Miami, shoot in New York all the time. I would shoot Fashion Week in Milan, Paris. Like I was gone half of the year. Like I was not in LA. Like I was just always from Airbnb to airport to hotel to home for a week to hang out with friends, and you're trying to catch up with everyone, and people in your mid-20s like to drink, and it was just like became a whirlwind of just traveling, getting drunk, shooting, editing, sleeping, eating, not working out, drinking some more. And it really just started to take a toll on just like my mental and physical, especially when I had in college. I had lived a really healthy lifestyle as far as like drinking minimally while still drinking, but eating really clean, exercising a lot. And it really got away from me as I got into my mid-20s, like 25, 26. in 2018, 2019. In 2019, I was basically getting drunk like every weekend. Like I was blacking out like with my friends, like we were just going out, or like I would be shooting fashion week and we'd be shooting a show, we'd edit, we would go to an after party where it's open bar. Then you go out to another bar, you're in Paris, you're in Milan, you're hanging out with all these cool people in the industry, you're meeting new people, and it just like becomes again a cycle. It's just like, that's why you hear, I'm sure, some of your favorite celebrities like who go into rehab and they just get drunk just because it's so easy, especially for them at that level. Like for me, who's just like industry adjacent, like I just shoot events, like it was really easy for me to develop a habit of drinking alcohol so heavily. So imagine just like for celebrities who get it for free, who are wanted at all these different events, and they're just offered it by the bottle, you know what I mean? So yeah, so in 2019, like I mentioned, every weekend I was basically getting blackout drunk, just like making poor decisions, spending a ton of money. Like it really just was a difficult time in my life. And again, I think it really all stemmed from just like that sort of depression of my grandma passing away and just like me wanting to be alone. I ended up breaking up with the person I was dating at the time, and just like I wanted to focus solely on my career, solely on work. Like I just like was, you know, blinders ahead. Like it was just literally work, eat, sleep, get drunk, repeat. And it really started to take a toll on me. And when the pandemic hit, I wanted to take a break just from drinking. Again, like I didn't feel like I was an alcoholic just because I knew myself. Like I never drank alone. It was all very much just drinking with friends, because I was always hanging out with friends. I was always like in social situations. So I was like, oh, friends, let's get drunk. But I was never the person to go buy a bottle by myself, bring it back home, go into my room and just like drink a whole bottle of tequila or wine or whatever. Like that was never me. When the pandemic hit, I was living at home with my mom, and I was like, you know what? Like I want to help better myself, and I want to just practice being sober for a year, or just as long as the quarantine happened. And obviously we're still in quarantine. It never really ended, I guess. But as time progressed, like I really just wanted to take the time to focus on myself and my health, and just get back into those healthy habits that I had practiced in college, and not drink as much. And just like, since I wasn't traveling anymore, I wanted to just see how long I could go without drinking. So the plan again was to drink until quarantine ended. So a month went by, 2 months went by, and it never ended, as you obviously know by now. I think the hardest part of it though was the first month of it. Like the first month, there was like Fridays when I would like finish work or whatever, and I'd be like, man, I could really use a glass of wine. But again, it wasn't like a very just like I needed to have it, you know, it was never like that. It was just like, oh, a glass of wine would be nice. But instead I decided to channel that energy, and like I would go for a run or just a walk, or do something productive with my time. Here's the lens, Sony 16-35 f2.8. I just wanted to channel that energy into something different. So as the months went by, it was, you know, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and I just like was not having alcohol anymore. I was just like, okay, like I'm just gonna see if I can go for 6 months. And then 6 months came along, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can go 9 months. And during that time, like there was things that were happening obviously in the world. Like there was things that were way more important, and it really allowed me to just focus. I ended up winning a VMA, EMA, and even for that, like to celebrate, like I did not drink any alcohol. That's usually we have a glass of champagne, whatever. But I really wanted to stick to a year of going sober. And I think after like 3 to 4 months is really when I started to realize how much of an impact alcohol was having in my life. My thought process, my mind really cleared up. I started to feel physically a lot better. I was having these like moments when I was like trying to go to sleep where I felt like I wasn't breathing, and I would like jolt out of my sleep and wake me up. And after I stopped drinking, like that started going away, and I felt like I just started being healthier. And I actually went to go see a functional medicine doctor, and they did like deeper blood work on me. That's not just like your typical like blood analysis that you usually do every year or whatever. It really dove into just like my vitamins and just like the inner workings of my body, and come to find out that I was very, very heavily vitamin deficient. Like literally every vitamin I did not have enough of, and I was put on a supplement plan, and that really all helped just like lifting my confidence, my like overall mood, my attentiveness, my energy levels, my motivation. Like it all just increased, and it really all just stemmed from me taking a break from alcohol. Like you don't really realize it, especially if you're just in the cycle. Like it really takes like 3 to 4 months for you to like start feeling the difference. Especially me, like I was in my mid-20s, and like even though I was still traveling and all this, like I was still trying to work out, at least like go on runs or whatever. After a while, it's like, dang, like I cannot believe I went this long with feeling so poorly. And I really felt like sad about it, but happy that I took the initiative to just take care of my body, take care of myself, and you know, not be as in a dark place as I was before. Again, just stemming from all the things that were happening in my life, and just like really going through like a depression, if we're being honest. I ended up going 1 year without alcohol, and that 1 year anniversary was on March 8th of 2021. And on that day, I went to the Soho House here in Los Angeles with 3 of my close friends, and I had a glass of wine. And even then, like, I wasn't really craving it that much. It was just like, I was like, okay, like I won a year, like I want to commemorate this moment that I won a year. And from now on, moving forward, like I would like to think that I will be able to have alcohol in moderation and just like not really abuse it as much, especially as I'm getting older. I'm 28 now, and just like I'm really starting to think about longevity and just my overall health. And just I really want to be focused into my career, into what I'm doing. You know, professionally, just getting hired by different companies to create, especially as the world opens back up. On the YouTube channel that I started this year, you know, I want to have energy and attentiveness and focus to be able to make videos for you at home watching this. I think going sober for a year was probably the best decision of my life. It really helped save my life. I think alcoholism does run in my family. I had a couple uncles that really abused it, and they ended up passing away just from different types of liver cancer, and they were really heavy drinkers. So I didn't just want to be like part of that number of men that die early in my family. You know, that just wasn't really for me. I really wanted to take the time to just focus on myself and really become a better person, just for me, for my mom, who is a single mother who raised me, and I just wanted to do her proud and just become the best version of myself that I can. And it's an ongoing journey. Obviously, I don't think I'll ever be the perfect individual. None of us can be, but it's just really taking those baby steps. I wouldn't call it a relapse really, but you know, if anything ever happens where I start drinking heavily again, I don't want to think of it as like just a waste of everything that I tried to do this past year, but hopefully it can just be, you know, a reminder. It's like, hey, you don't need to be doing this right now. Like, let's focus on some more productive things. All right, so that's sort of the story about my 1 year being sober. I would love to hear your journey and like where you are with it, and if this was of help, or if there's any sort of advice, resources, if you want to learn more about functional medicine doctors, I'd be happy to recommend. Leave them in the comments below, but let's actually test out this camera. Let's see what the hype is about and see what it looks like. It's gonna be in 4K, so let me know if you see a difference, and we're gonna switch to it now. How do I look? Is there any difference? The good thing about this is that there's actually a flip out screen, so actually now I can see myself when I'm filming, and like I can frame myself a little bit better, hopefully. But yeah, this is my old camera that I'm still gonna be using, because it's not even an upgrade like that, but this is the Sony A7R Mark III. I think I'm just gonna use this exclusively for photography now. And this is the Sony 24-70 f2.8 G Master, which I shoot everything on. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, this was a little bit more of a personal video. Wasn't as heavy on the photography creative side, but I hope it really shed some light into just life and real world stuff that happens to everyone, and it could happen to you, you know what I mean? But regardless, I am here for you. I love interacting with anyone who, you know, may come across this channel. Like, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Saul Lopez. I respond to every and any DM, whether it's about work, if you want to send me some video examples, if you want some feedback, if you want to just chop it up and chat, whatever it is, feel free to DM me. Leave some comments down below, like, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoy just connecting with all of you. There's 571 of you guys now, and a year ago when I started this, I was at like 130, so there's 400 people here that are watching. So thank you so much again for your support. Really means a lot, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Stay safe out there.
I might just hit it through. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, talk, push, move, talk. When I'm stepping in.